Let's be honest, he doesn't really need an introduction. He steps out onto the high wire every week for humanity. And I thank God every day that he was born in this moment, because he is one of the greatest fearless leaders and genuine human beings that we have on our side. So I want you to find everything you got, give him the big Texas hooray, hurrah, yeehaw, and give it up for the one and only Bigtree.
That's not gonna work. I'm taking, all right. Hey everybody, first of all, look around at the crowd we got here today. This is impressive. No masks, thank God. I want to take a moment though to really thank the peacekeepers that have joined us today. All these guys that are standing out here in the sun, making sure that we're safe, making sure that things are peaceful, and that no one's going to try and attack our way of life or our freedom. So thank you guys for standing up and watching out for us. We really appreciate it. I also especially want to thank Texas. On behalf of all of the Californians and the New Yorkers, those of us that have retreated here, have sought sanctuary from the socialist takeover of the states that we lived in, I want to thank you for accepting us here in Texas, and I mean it. Just to get a sense of it, will everybody that once lived or was born in New York or from the New York area, please raise your hands. That's right. For you, we thank you, Texas, for allowing us. And from California, raise your hands. That's right. Thank you, Texas, for allowing us to come here. I have news for you. We don't plan on turning Texas into California. We will make sure that over our dead bodies will that ever happen. That's right. We now recognize what it truly means to be free. We know what it means to have it taken away, and we know how to get it back. And so for those of you that have always lived here, thank you for spending your lives and holding this state in the affirmation of what freedom actually means. I want to talk about that inclusion. In fact, I was sitting here and I was thinking, you know, I never write my speech, but somehow Mickey Willis stole my speech. I don't know what it is. It's a download, man, but you're not allowed my download. No, the point is, though, and I think Mickey's aware of it because those of us in media and those of us that are outspoken and out there on cameras and into television eye, we now see that, you know, Joe Biden and this administration, our Department of Justice, has just essentially labeled anybody that questions our government, that dissents against the decisions that are made by our government, can now be considered a terrorist. People that stand in the way of the COVID agenda can be labeled as terrorists. Any of you out there that question voting machines, you better not, or you're a terrorist. People who use words like God and country and founding fathers and constitution can be labeled as terrorists. And so I want to say, and I know Mickey shares this, that we want to make it clear that when we use words like battle and war, that we're talking about a battle for the soul, a war of the heart, and the weapon of intelligence and integrity is what we stand for and what we fight with. I also want to talk about the inclusion. As we have come from California, I've been here 2 years. The High Wire and all my team came here because we knew we would be talking a lot about freedom, and it was becoming illegal to do that in California. But I was accepted here. I think we make Texas stronger because we are here. And so I want to talk about what this movement is just for a second. I am officially unvaccinated. I'm proud to be unvaccinated. I want to thank my mother who made the decision to not vaccinate me. We quietly lived our lives. My mom sort of told me, just keep your head below the water. We'll only deal with it when people ask. If the school wouldn't allow me in, my mom would have, come in. She'd shut the door behind her, and then she would let it loose. That was the only time we ever really talked about it, and the only time I ever thought about it was when someone was challenging what it meant to be unvaccinated. But I think we've made a mistake. I think we made a mistake by being quiet, by lying low, by just sticking to ourselves. We actually let ourselves believe that we were only 3 to 5% of this country, that we only were this minority that could be tread upon like a rattlesnake. But that is no longer the truth. And what I want you to think about deep down as we all stand, it's very easy to stand here together when we all are wearing our red shirts and we know we're amongst those that share the same values. But how are we carrying ourselves in our families? How are we carrying ourselves at our jobs? How are we carrying ourselves in our churches? There should be no difference. The news, if you're still turning on that stupid television, which I know many of you are, thinking you're immune to the propaganda and the brainwashing that's going on, the news constantly has a mantra to tell you that you are the minority. They will say things like, we've already got 70% vaccine uptake in America, as though we're the 30%. 70% have gotten at least one shot. There's one problem with that. They don't consider you vaccinated if you've had one shot. Not at all. If you get COVID and you end up in the hospital and you've had one shot, they put you in the unvaccinated column. Do you know that? If you got 2 shots and you're inside of the 14-day period it takes to make that vaccine apparently work, if you get COVID and end up in the hospital, even when you got 2 shots, they put you in the unvaccinated column. And I am fine with that. You know why? Because you, as Mickey Willis has said, you are welcome here. As your nation turns on you, I want you to know that you are welcome here. As your vaccine fails you, I want you to know that you are still welcome here. As you struggle to work through your health issues that have come on because you got the vaccine, I want you to know we have doctors that are working very hard to figure out to help you. You are not only welcome here, we are going to try and save you here. I recognize that you were lied to. I was on an interview with China television last week. A couple of big-wig doctors and then me and Nurse Erin were on there. And near the end of the thing, this guy who's like Harvard trained, genius, and he says, well, look, no vaccine is perfect. And frankly, I gotta say, this vaccine is performing better than I ever dreamed it would. Swear to God, that's what he said. This is gonna be his final closing remarks. And the host said, Del, Bigtree, what do you have to say about that? I said, that's amazing. I mean, listen to what that guy just said. He just said that a vaccine doesn't stop infection any longer, cannot stop transmission any longer, which was exactly how it was sold to everybody. Protect your neighbor, protect Susie, protect John by getting this vaccine. That was the entire pitch. It does not do that. It does not do the one thing we always believed. When it's a vaccine, we thought what that meant was preventative. It prevents me from getting it and me from giving it. But this one doesn't do that. And now the CDC's admitting it, Fauci's admitting it, all the people that had to get vaccines are putting their masks back on. And this doctor from Harvard says it's performing even better than I thought it would. How low is that bar? Exactly. And I said that's really unfortunate, because essentially what that means is you're admitting that we lied to the people. Because I told you a year ago, this vaccine will not stop infection. It will not stop transmission. I lost my YouTube channel. I lost my Facebook channel. I was written up in the New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC. They all talked about how I was doing damage for telling you the truth that they apparently always knew. I was writing my writing partner from Hollywood, where I used to be involved in trying to make movies, and I said to him, I was just a filmmaker that was trying to make a movie about a dead cat. Literally, that was what I was trying to sell. No wonder it didn't work out. I should not be able to outsmart the world's greatest scientific bodies. That should not happen. When I'm in an interview and they say, you have no medical degree whatsoever, I said, you're right. That's why this is so terrifying. Why am I the only one getting this right? I'll tell you why. Because you don't need a degree. You don't need to go to med school as long as you know how to read. To read. All we did was look at the emergency use authorization. All we did was read everything that they gave us about the trials, where they admitted we have no idea if this thing can stop infection or stop transmission. There was big black and white letters. It wasn't like in Chinese, it wasn't like in Latin. It literally just said, yeah, we didn't test for that, not sure if it's gonna do that. That's interesting because every scientist coming on CNN says it's going to do that. Also, I think we lost our channel because we said, you know, most likely this came from a laboratory in Wuhan. I don't know. Maybe it's because there's no bat growing within 500 miles of Wuhan. Or as the fact, you know, John Daly said it, or no, was it Stewart? John Stewart said, I mean, the virus has the exact name of the Wuhan laboratory on it. But I want to talk about where we're about to go. Things are about to get really, really serious. And we're standing here together right now. We may not be allowed to do this, or they'll try to stop this in the future, who knows? They're coming after anybody that would ever dare to wear a shirt like this, unvaccinated, or a shirt like Texans for Vaccine Choice. They're coming after our jobs. They're coming after our schools. They're coming after our ability to travel. And if that doesn't work, they're going to come after our grocery stores and our ability to eat. They're already telling you that's where this is going. And why? Why are we at this point? I want to say, as I looked across the world and I've been reporting on it, I was getting really frustrated when I saw that there was over 1 million people marching in London, millions in France and Germany. And I was thinking to myself, where is America? Where is the USA? But then just a few weeks ago, I happened to be up in the middle of the night watching CBS, and they said, well, we've just hit 42.9% vaccinated in the United States of America. I was, wait, what? I rewound it. I was like, what did I just hear? CBS just said 42.9% vaccinated? I mean, they may have 1 million people marching in the streets in London, thank God, but they're somewhere around 60 to 70% vaccinated. And in France, or in Israel, they may be marching in the streets, but they're still taking the vaccine. You gotta give it to America. We may not be standing in the streets, but deep down, we are rebelling this stupidity. We are not the minority. There's 50% of us in this country that should all be standing with us right now. And all I want you to do when you go home tonight is ask yourself, why are they not standing here? Why don't they know about this? Because we are too afraid to talk. Because we are too afraid to stand in who we are. Because we actually believe that we are outnumbered and somehow we will be crushed. Nothing could be further from the truth. That is the propaganda that every one of us here has bought into. So if you think you're overcoming that propaganda, you must recognize if you have any fear of standing in who you are buying into their lie. They don't want you to recognize yourself. They don't want you to recognize your neighbor. They don't want you to recognize your brother or your sister, because the day you do is the day their tyranny ends.
That's right. Lord,